You just tuned in to Up for Discussion. What's up, everybody? Lathan, you want to take tonight? You want to roll it off, kick it off?
Hello, welcome to Up for Discussion. We're glad that you're with us. If you're with us, if you're not, get with us. This episode is what? Brought to you by Ultra Products.
Ultra Products.
Come and get all your Ultra archery needs
That's
met.
right.
Get your needs met in the world of archery and bow hunting, turkey hunting, some fishing, bow fishing,
Little bit of ammo
coffee and ammo,
and good friendship.
conversation that will bring you up higher. So, thanks for being with us this evening. We're going to dive off into discussing some stuff.
Yeah. Talking
just-
about gear this evening, talking about things that are in the shop.
Just see where it goes. Some new things in the shop as of the last day or two, right?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So we got some stuff piled on the table that if you've not been in lately, that you've probably not seen.
Yeah, there's more stuff to come yet, but it seems like this time of year, things are just continually pouring in because we're trying to grow this shop. And that being the case, we're always looking for good products that we feel like are going to give guys the most opportunity to be set up properly.
Grow the shop.
Yeah.
We need your help to grow the shop.
It takes a village.
It takes a village to raise a kid. Is that what the saying is?
I think that's what Hillary Clinton said.
Is it?
Yeah.
I retract that last statement.
It take not a village.
It takes two good parents, and not always even two, but that's the best. It's the best way. It's
That's
the best
right.
way. Mom and dad.
If while we're talking this evening, you guys have any questions for us, anything pertaining to the gear, rattle them off.
Rattle them off. If you see something that we talk about this evening, or you think we need to cover it more elaborate than whatever we did as we were speaking upon it.
Yep. And if we can, we will answer those questions to the best of our ability.
That's right.
Chances are we won't be able to.
Oh, come on. The wealth of knowledge that sits behind this table in the archery world and U.S. No, between the two of us, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot just in the last couple of years, but over the last 30 years, you just pick up things along the road, so to speak.
Sure. And
knowledge.
Well, here's one thing that we have picked up. You can work on every bow that you've owned, and you still haven't worked on every bow.
That's right.
And every company has different things that they do, different yokes, different, cams, different, all different systems. Even though they're all similar, they are not all equal. And because of that, you've never worked on it until you've worked on it. So
profound.
That's right.
You've never seen it until you saw it. Or is that the other way?
Have seen, saw, whatever. Yep.
All right. Well, anyway, there is so many things in the archery world. Some of them can be gimmicky.
Our goal here is to not our goal is to filter the gimmick before it ever gets to you. And I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, because I'm not opposed to a good gimmick, because some gimmicks turn out to be really something great.
Well, if it's not entirely because of the gimmick.
Yeah, I guess so. Because if you think about it, I bet the compound bow, when it first rolled out, I bet people were like, looks like a gimmick to me.
Yeah.
And then it morphed into technology that blows my mind sometimes now. Literally. I look at some of the things we have to work on. I was like, man, how does that go back together? It's just, they are a lot of technology and a lot of thinking and engineering has went into them. So there are some gimmicks that can, I guess a gimmick has to stand the test of time. And I've always been about, let's try the gimmick and see. And some of them are just gimmicks and they're not any better than whatever was before it.
But I do want, or I think it's important for Ultra Products to be a filter. that guys don't, and they can get that stuff if they want, but to a degree, we figure out what's good and what's not, and that's what we keep in the shop.
To the best of our ability.
Yeah, and then beyond that, if a guy comes in, we're never going to tell him no.
Sure.
And even if it was a scenario where we didn't feel like it was a good product, I'm not sure we would run it down, because that's not really, but we might give our opinion. I've been in enough bow shops where it was like, you ain't getting that here.
Right.
And to me,
you're an idiot for asking.
Yeah.
About that.
And I don't want to put that off in any way.
Happen. We don't.
So,
but anyway, so we've got a lot of stuff piled on the table, and we were just picking and choosing some of the things that are new the last week or so. So, I mean, that have just come in. Some of them have been in here for a while. I've got a Matthews RS up there in Bottomlands, but if you don't realize we've got those, I wish we had some Dartons, because the Dartons have been leaving the shelf pretty good.
They have,
and we've got some ordered.
We've got 3 coming in, I think, tomorrow.
So I guess I could have grabbed mine, but anyway, the Dartons, if you haven't messed with the new Dartons, they are very nice bows, and they have grabbed a hold of some attention for sure, just from the way they've been leaving as we get them in. Because you've got how many on the way?
3,
and 2 of them are gone already, or 1 of them. So that just goes to show you, moving the Dartons.
People want it.
People want it.
If it says Darton,
I like it. I like them. I'm a fan. I'm a fanboy of the Dartons. Everybody knows that by now. I'll maybe even do a Facebook Live in the morning on the old black Darton bow to see what it's doing.
Do you think that the Catholic Church has ever made the guy who roasted cherry seeds into a saint?
Roasted cherry seeds.
Yeah, because that's what coffee is. It's a little cherry.
Yeah, kind of ish.
Yeah. Good dude.
Yeah. Why
that guy thought outside the box?
So why'd you throw the Catholics in there? Just because they deem people saints?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If not, I'm deeming him a saint. Let me
finish that.
Deeming him a saint.
Deeming, knighting him, declaring him a saint. What about the Pentecostals?
I don't know what they do. I know what they do, but
the Pentecostals would call the man that created coffee a brother in the Lord. I don't know. I was drawing blanks. Well, that has nothing to do with the stuff on the table. I'm going to pick something up and talk about it. What about this?
All right. That is the Scott SR1.
Let me just pick them all 3 up, because we got enough stuff here. We brought the Scotts in here just on the basis of Scott Archery.
Yeah, Scott just got in the shop. You can
Scott is in the shop.
Point in that direction. That way everybody can see him.
Scott is in the shop. So we've got Scott releases officially here. People come in all the time, ask us about Scott releases. We want to always have Scott releases, but we haven't always had them until now.
Yep.
Because it takes time to get to the place you can have every product in the shop.
It really does.
And we're working we're working our way there. So Scott releases, you got Little Goose. Man, I was a Little Goose man. I've still got a Little Goose.
Little Goose.
It says for over 40 years here. I'm telling you right now, over 40 years, it seems like I've had a Little Goose, but not quite that long.
Me and you bought the Little Goose at the same time.
We bought Little Gooses was we in Georgia?
Yep. I was, I would say, a young lad in the hunting compared to you. You had been in it probably an extra 10 years at that time.
We went down there turkey hunting.
And you was like, oh, I've always wanted a little goose. And I was like, I like spending money. So
you must have misunderstood me and went and bought a release. Anyway, so this is Scott Archery, make great releases. They have sold since the original Scott Archery, doesn't they?
They still make a quality product.
They do. They do. Well, the company that owns them, so far, what I've seen come out of that company, it's all impressive.
Yeah.
And we've got 3 products that I know of from this company on the table right now.
4.
4?
Yep.
We've got those.
5. Slick Tricks and Trek.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So it's a good company. They make good stuff.
Yeah.
All these things are. So this is the SR1. This is a button, thumb button. Pretty sweet. Turn it towards the camera there.
Yep. We've got a lot of guys that are transitioning over to a thumb button, and that being the case, in the last year, we've been selling Excel. We've been selling a lot of UltraView.
UV buttons.
Yep. And now we've got Scott as well as an
What's
option.
this one compared to the not in quality, because I know on quality wise it's on par with the UV, no doubt.
As far as cost,
yeah, price wise,
it's a little bit under what a UV is. You're
so
running
a little more affordable.
Yeah. Excel has got some entry level ones, and I'm sure Scott does too. But that particular one that you're asking about is $249, I believe.
So that one's not their entry. It's a little better,
Yeah,
higher end.
Yep.
Then this one intrigued us a while ago. This is an index finger or pointer finger, as some people would say, not a thumb button.
Yep. Wrist rocket.
Not a thumb button. Pointer finger release, wrist strap. But it has like a double series. It has a set on it like the thumb buttons.
Yep.
So you set this, and your trigger breaks cleaner, basically, is what that is. A lot of people don't realize caliber releases that just pinch shut. They'll pick them up and pull the trigger on them. It's like, man, that's smooth. But a caliber release, when you add weight to it, the tension of the trigger goes up.
Yes.
So, breaking that trigger just out of the package, it does feel, but when you pull your bow back and you got several pounds on, if you're a heavier poundage guy, especially, it's going to break harder, where these break the same every time.
Yeah.
So,
which is, it looks clunky in the head itself, but the concept is very sound.
Yeah. So you're going to set this little trigger here. I'm sure you guys struggle to see it, but set it, hook it. And then
if you can point it at that one, they can probably make it out. See, it's got a double trigger.
Yeah.
Does that number right
basically
there.
Like a set trigger on the old Kentucky long rifle. When you pull that set trigger, it's going to break cleaner. And this would be, the Little Goose is more of just a standard caliber style release that I'm talking about, but a good release nonetheless. That thing has been kicking it for a long time.
Tried and true.
So Scott releases are in the house. Come and check them out. Good stuff. Many other releases as well, but check those babies
Who's
out.
in the house?
Scott is.
Scott releases.
Oh. Got anything you want? Well, let's just stick with this company. So the same company that owns Scott, you're telling me owns Slick Trick. I did not realize that.
Yes, that is correct.
So there's the Slick Trick torch. And can you grab that? What's that Slick Trick SB? It's in front of your computer.
There you go. Slick Trick, single bevel.
I like the looks of that rascal. When I come back
Pretty cool.
from Africa, the southern region, I may rock something like that.
It's pretty slick.
It's a trick too. But that's a single bevel. They also have one just like it out there that's not. That's a double bevel cut.
It's called the DB.
SB. It was called something, wasn't it? Revive or Revival or something like that. Curved blades for easy cutting and increased penetration. The torch will be a flip flapper, which is a
has Slick Trick made a mechanical before?
They made one and it flopped, I think.
Yeah.
But this one, I've heard a lot of people review this one that it's a good head. It's going to remind you of the it's got a little bit of the Sever design in it.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Sever, mixed with
looks like a Killzone kind of.
Killzone S. The Killzone's the blades slide back. These just flip open. I believe there's a lock and a spring mechanism in there to keep them in the open position. Slick Trick. So owned by the same company as Scott. Good broadheads. And we've got all the original Slick Tricks that's been around forever that are tried and true. The Viper Tech and the
Sure.
the original, like the Magnum and the original.
Yeah. We got all
blades.
the stainless steels and
Yeah.
yeah.
So moving on with this company, I just built this arrow today, but these are new arrows to the shop.
Yep.
I'm thinking I might rock this one, maybe even for a buffalo.
Ultras.
Ultra arrow. That's Ultra. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
ALTRA.
Ultra. Seems like that's what it'd be.
Ultra. Ultra. So
Uh,
the same company. What's the beef on these? I will say that these arrows are slick, good looking.
it's a very sharp looking arrow.
Which looks don't mean everything, but
their big selling thing initially was they called them a spineless arrow or virtually no spine,
So
which
they have-
is not true in
so they're liars. is what
no,
you're saying. No.
in practicality it's
Yeah.
not, because there's a spine in every arrow.
Right.
But they've got to weave in a way that supposedly is not nearly as pinpointing of a spine.
Right. So you don't have one side that's dramatically stiffer than the other side.
Yeah.
Which all arrows, you hear people talk about the stiff side, the weak side, and it's going to flex to the weak side or whatever it is.
Sure.
And the what that would mean is if you've got a spine that's harder to find in an arrow, which means it's to some degree not there, like you're saying, you're going to get an arrow that no matter where it's knocked up, if you don't knock tune, that theoretically should be truer in a batch.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. And there's a lot of people that praise them. So it's not just like, there's a lot of people that praise them. They're good to look at. Their components, I love their components.
Yeah.
So
Levi Morgan shoots them. That's literally the arrow that he has chose to put his name behind.
So this one we were just building today and playing with. This is a real heavy one. We've got standard 4 mils and 5 mils. This is your standard shaft. It's pre-fletched with 2 whites and a gray.
Yep.
Sharp looking, translucent nocks. Look sweet. They just look good. But their components, I don't know if it'd be hard to show somebody on our little thing here, but
Their components are extremely nice.
this is the titanium. So they've got slick titanium components. I'm sure you would have to specify if you wanted titanium.
Yes.
We specified on this one because this might go to South Africa to buffalo hunt. So we want it tough as we can get. But the outsert literally screws off in your hand. And their other ones, their aluminums run the same way.
And one thing that's nice about their components, like there's some companies where it's like their components fit, but there's some slop or some play.
That's what I was getting ready to say. These fit up nice.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, take it from people that set and put arrows together. The fit up on these bad boys are nice. That's not me knocking Victories or Black Eagles. I'm a Black Eagle fanboy too, have been for a bunch of years. But these fit up very nice, very sleek. So this one's rocking 800 and some grains right now.
840 right now.
I wish I could show you. I could, but they also have weight systems.
Yeah.
So this one, on the inside of this shaft, on the back of this insert, there's like 6 weights in there right now. Is that what we were at?
No, there's more than that.
But you could fill this arrow with weights technically if you wanted to. But I have they're back in the here weights that are screwed on the back of the insert to get more weight up front and just more overall weight to this. Sorry about that. The shafts. So pretty sweet. Good looking. The spine thing, if there's a lot of truth in that, and I don't know why there wouldn't be. I mean, you got people praising them and shooting them and winning tournaments and all kinds of stuff with them. That I could test. I could tell you later to be seen. Just get a bunch of bare shafts and I'll start shooting them through paper, and I'll tell you if they're tearing all kinds of different holes, different directions, telling me the spine.
I'd say that could give us a good live Facebook Live in the mornings.
I could do something like that in the days ahead. So you've got those arrows. I'm gonna praise them just on fit and finish.
Yeah, they're sweet looking.
And components that come with them seem to me, even the ones that come with the shafts,
Scale of 1 to 10.
not the titanium. I didn't play with the aluminum, but this titanium that I put on here, the way it fits and how slick it is, the transition there, gosh, I'm going to give that a 9 at least.
Yeah.
I feel like I should give it a 10.
That's throwing around your 10s too easy.
But, you know, haven't shot it a bunch, did take it outside and fling a few through it and shot it through the crony and did a little paper tuning with that arrow out of my black dart and bow. So good stuff. Come and check them out. We got enough to supply a few people.
Yep, for sure.
So you got standards, you got 5 mil shafts, and you got 4 mil shafts in those.
Yeah, I don't have many 4 mils right now. I'm supposed to have more coming, but currently I've got standards and 5 mils.
Yeah.
So,
which I'm a 5 mil guy myself. This is actually a 4 mil.
It is.
And the more I thought about it, I don't hate it. The only reason I've not been a huge 4 mil guy, I just feel like some of the components are getting so small that they bug me that they're that small.
Yeah.
The arrow itself has never bothered me. And this one, the more I think about it, I kind of like, because it's a 250 spine. It looks like a 5 mil.
Yes, it does.
Because the 4 mil is the inner diameter, and they've added a lot more carbon to get this to a 250 spine. It ought to be tough.
Well, one thing about Ultra arrows, if you don't want a heavier arrow, it's probably not a good option for you.
They lean heavy.
They lean to go a little bit heavier. So,
which works great for what I'm thinking about doing with it.
Yeah.
One more. What else is theirs? This is theirs.
Yep.
So this is
the Elite Artis.
And
this is one of their flagships for this year.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different Elite bows out there. And I'm just going to be honest with you folks. I just picked this up a while ago. I've not messed with it. Just laying here in front of me, I just now noticed it's got Picatinny rails in the limb pockets on top and bottom. That's cool.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure the bottom one is probably for some sort of legs that mount on there, maybe.
I think they also have their own carrying strap that.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you can see right here in both limb pockets on the outside, you got pick rails. So anything Picatinny related,
yeah,
you could bolt on there. I guess you could bolt on a scope.
Be a weird place to put one.
So anything, and a pick rail on the front for your pick rail mounted sights.
Yep.
That's nice. I like the collar.
What are the specs on it?
The specs.
That's one thing about Elite that is pretty neat. They have unreal options as far as colors. Like
tons of colors, don't they?
Yeah,
tons of colors. Let me lay this down so I can.
That's one thing that whenever I was speaking to the rep, he's like, if there's a problem, it would be that we have maybe too many colors.
Yeah, because they've got a color chart on their tag. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 colors.
20 colors to choose from.
20 colors.
That's a lot of colors, folks.
So specs on this. This is what the Artis.
Yep.
Specs say it's got a 6 7/8 brace height. That's nice. Almost that 7 inches. If you get into 7-inch brace heights, those are very shootable bows. Axle 30 and a 1/16, up to 340 feet a second. So it's not a slow bow. Draw links are 25 to 30.5, so 30 and a half. So, and Elite's one that gives you 1/4 inches, right?
Yes.
I think
maybe even 1/8. I think you can get 1/8 with your. Maybe I'm wrong.
I haven't heard of the 1/8. I don't know about that, but I'm pretty sure I know they give you 1/4 inch draw length adjustments, where a lot of bows give you half.
See, I think in their if you want to adjust it with your
because they've got
a micro
they've got
tune.
The mod, and then they've got the micro tune that also messes with your percentage, your let off percentage. So 25 to 30 and a half, you can get him from 40 pounds to 75 pounds. He's 4.7 pounds mass weight.
Yeah.
Up to 90% let off.
Artis was the Greek god of war. who he shot his bow, and that's where we get the term "the art of war."
Really?
Nope, just made it up.
You did good.
The
It's
elite
almost-
artist.
It's almost scary how good you lied that through.
Mm.
Anyhow, they have some. A lot of bows are doing this whole tuning thing. Everybody's going down the tuning rabbit hole, making bows more tunable.
I do like their mechanism.
I like it too. And the more I look at it, it makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense than a lot of them to me.
Yeah. Essentially, what they're doing is they're calling your riser
Yeah, they're
the
basically
pocket,
just
but-
shifting the riser back and forth, which when you draw a bow, a lot of bows, the riser wants to turn
twist, yeah,
a
flex.
little bit, flex one direction, and you can compensate that behind the pocket here, and it manipulates your left-right tear,
Yeah.
basically. And it works well. It works well. I
It's a
know-
very similar system to what Darton has, except it's done in a different way.
yeah.
So
They're all doing the same thing, just they're all doing it a little different way. Theirs is probably closer to Darton, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. What they're doing is they're moving the pocket rather than the limb, but they're both doing it.
Well, in that sense, theirs would be closer to Matthews.
I don't know about that
Is
because they're doing it
Because
at the.
when you move the pocket left or right, you're moving the other end of the limb, where Matthews is moving the limb tip.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're doing it at the end of the limb.
Yeah, at the
Darton
riser.
is doing it at the riser.
Yeah, but they're deflecting harder one way or another on a limb.
Yeah.
And this doesn't do that.
Well,
just
it has
shifts-
to.
It just shifts the limb pocket.
Yeah, but because it's doing that, it is shifting that way.
more to one limb or another. Yeah. They're all doing the same thing. They're just taking a different dirt road to get there. I love that they give you cable tension adjustment. Some people think that's not a big deal. And I've even heard some bow techs say, I wish they wouldn't put that on there because people mess with it when they get home and
They do.
they mess their bow up. And that's true. But
Yeah.
if it's a tuning thing that people sometimes forget about.
Yeah.
You can add tension or take some side load off of these cams with this adjustable cable guard to the left and right. And I like that. If you got a bow that's being ornery, you don't want to tear, come out of a left tear, you can maybe take a little bit off that and help it. So those are all the same kind. Was there something else?
Yeah, the Trek.
So the
CBE
CBE
Trek Pro.
Man, they've got a bunch of good stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
What's the name of the company as a whole?
It's
Sorry for the sound, folks.
it goes by the Outdoor Group.
The Outdoor Group. There's CBE Custom Bow Equipment.
Right there. The Outdoor Group. Also known as TOG.
So this is one of their higher end.
Yep. If you want to
Sides.
show it over here.
It's got a dovetail mount, so to go in any of your dovetail mounts and or center,
Yep.
bridge lock type stuff on Matthews.
And we also have Picatinny conversion kits
Picatinny.
to where you can
You
mount
could
it
put
on the
this
Elite
one.
bow.
You could even put it on the limb pocket if you wanted to.
That's correct.
On the limb bow or on the Elite bow. The sight, from what I've seen of CBE sights, nice, good sights. One thing I think I was talking to you about, I like this sight, is definitely come check this out if you're thinking about getting a single pin or a 3-pin slider or something like that. Because this is a nice sight, a little more affordable than some of the other brands.
It is. Yeah.
It's
They-
still,
They
you know-
remind me similar to what Redline. Redline's a little bit more cost effective.
gotcha.
Yeah.
But this doesn't put off any vibe as being cheap.
No,
got
it doesn't.
It's got a carbon dovetail rod, which
Yep.
shaves weight down. That's nice. It's pretty robust looking. I like the big handle to adjust. It's got a light on it, I believe. Rheostat light. It's a good looking rig. It's got first, second, and third axis, it looks like.
Yep. And we have it in the single, a 3-pin, and a 5-pin. So
And this box says right here contains one bow sight. There's not 2 bow sights in here.
No question about
I
it.
mean, there is not 2. So those are all the same company. So they're representing big time.
They are.
And if that might tell you something about the new stuff in the shop, that we've signed up with a new outfit.
They are representing big time, not big time.
Big time.
Yeah, big time's probably represented by some other company.
Probably so.
Yep.
So come and check that stuff out. That's all brand new. That's like literally has just come in the shop
Today.
Today.
A bunch
this
of it.
week.
Some yesterday, some today.
Some yesterday, some today.
Probably tomorrow.
More tomorrow.
Yeah.
I throw the Matthews RS up there, and I actually should have probably put the other one because I just wanted to make sure people realized that last year the first year for Bottomlands camo.
Yeah, last year was the first year on Bottomlands, and then this year is Cryptek.
Hanging on the wall over here, not Cryptek, Kuiu, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever, however you pronounce that. I brought that in because I wanted people to realize that the Matthews does have a new, if you're not, most people are pretty up on the game, but if you're not, they've got this new camo for this year. This is the new bow for this year too, RS, little short 27 and 3/4 inch bow, little feller, but it's got the new camo on it. So I want to make sure. Some people probably been in and seen this. It's been in here for a little bit, but just want to make sure you realize.
I like that camo.
It is. It looks good.
Kuiu Verde.
Verde.
Yeah. So green. Spanish for green.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Verde.
Well, how about that? So come check that out. If you haven't shot the RS, it is probably their faster bow if you put the heavy limbs on it.
And most of the ones that we've been getting in for those guys that are just wondering, most of them have been running pretty hot.
Yeah.
So
that upsets some people, but not me. I like a bow to pull a little heavy and run a little hot. Just go ahead and grab that while you're over there. I'll grab this one too. These are 2 bows out of the same family. The one that he's got is not as new as this one that I've got.
This bow they've had for at least, well, they've had it for a while, but they just basically add a number every time.
Yeah.
This is the Eva Gen 3. The Gen 3 came out last year, and they came out with this cool color as well.
What do you call that? Mint green?
Yeah, mint chocolate chip. That's probably what I would call it, but I think they call it forest. And
looks nothing like the forest.
Nope. But chicks dig it. So
I will say that bow is the best from what I've seen, the best. I hate to call them just women's bows, but they are, I guess. But one of the best small frame person.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it has got everything and beyond, but it's scaled down to fit smaller frame. Yeah, that's why you shouldn't call it a girl's bow. If you had a, you know, a 10 or 11-year-old boy or something that's just starting.
If he didn't mind the fact that it says Eva's name on it.
Yeah, they played it to girls just because it says Eva on it. But that bow is,
I talked to the rep about that. I'm like, you need to remarket that bow with a different name on it.
Just be E Shockey or something like that. That would be awesome. Because I'm telling you, if you're starting out and you want a small bow and you're
just call it the Shock.
What's the specs on it? It runs out to what's the draw length and weight?
It goes out to 60 on poundage.
So you can get a 60-pound bow.
Yeah. And
or up to
the let off on 40, it, I think, is 90%. 40 to 60. It's a 28 axle to axle. It's very similar to the RS. Like if you think about it.
In size, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the RS has carried you know, a lot of attention because of what it is size-wise and what it's doing. This bow really is very similar.
They ought to offer that baby all the way out to 70 and 80 pounds.
They should.
I would.
And they need to call it the Shock.
Yeah. Or E-Shock or something like that. I would potentially even think about that bow if they put 70 or 80
It'd
pound
be
limit.
an awesome.
Man, you take
mountain
that thing
bow.
to the mountains. That's
Yeah.
right. I mean, throw that thing around, short, sweet, and hard to beat.
Imagine if they made this in what they've made that bow out of.
This bow?
Yeah. I mean, this bow is 3.9 pounds as it sits out of aluminum.
I have aluminum.
This bow is 3.7 pounds.
Out of magnesium. And if you have,
And look at the difference.
yeah, size wise.
Yeah.
So that would be a light,
A screamer, man.
that'd be
Yeah.
the lightest bow made right there.
Yes, it would. Bowtech, what are you doing?
Come on, homie. Give us the E-Shock
That's right.
in not.
No, they need to call it the Shock E. That way it catches both. Shock E.
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that. Nothing against Eva. If you want to come on the podcast anytime, you can come on. But they need
But
to,
for marketing purposes,
yeah, for marketing
to put it in
purpose,
a
because I know if I was 11,
to put it in a 20-year-old's hands, it needs
and
to.
it's not a cheap bow, it's a full price bow, but if you're going to put that, no doubt, I kid you not, Bowtech, if you could watch this somehow and listen to us, I would contemplate hunting with that bow if it had heavy limbs and it wasn't called the Eva.
Yeah. I'm going to tag Matt in this.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would. Now, going on from that, we're not hating on it. It's an amazing. That's why I'm saying it's an amazing bow. I really think it's the best bow that has been geared towards ladies and small frame people. I guess it's really just geared towards ladies, isn't it? Just call it for what it is. If you would get away from just gearing it that way.
Yeah, because that bow in that gray is a sharp looking bow.
It's awesome looking in gray.
Yeah.
You know, and they could put it in other colors. And I don't hate the mint, whatever that is, but it wouldn't jive in my hand. I would like it.
It ain't going in your truck.
Yeah, I would like it in a different color. But anyway, that transition is to this real good. Let me put it up here where you can see.
Yeah, the Virtue.
That is the new Virtue.
The WR2.
That is a magnesium riser bow. So you've seen the comparison of how much bigger this bow is than that Shock E mint chocolate chip forest green.
Is it a 31? It is a 32 axle to axle.
32. So it's
four extra inches.
It's a decent sized bow, and it's still lighter than that 28-inch bow.
Yeah.
So that's, and I'm just telling you, it is light. It is silly light. But what have you got going on with this? I guess I should read the specs. We read the specs on the other stuff.
Yeah. Give us the specs,
Here's
Johnny.
the crazy thing. That Shocky bow has everything that this bow has on it.
It does.
Except for the magnesium riser.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got all the whistles and the bells. So this is their new Virtue by Bowtech. You can get it in 25 to 30 inches of draw length. IBO's at 341, 3.7 pounds. So that's the factor that makes this special, is how light it is. And it's all due to that magnesium riser, right?
Yep.
32 inches axle to axle, 6.19. So it's a little less on the brace height, but you can get him from 50 to 70 pounds.
I just think they're missing a huge opportunity there. Maybe this year they're going to come out with it,
What's the opportunity?
To take this riser design and to make that bow with it.
And you would legitimately you'd have to be the lightest bow made. And there's some arguments out there right now by some pretty prominent, what do you call them? Influencers.
Yeah.
That say the cost for the weight loss in carbon bows and even maybe magnesium, the rise in cost is not worth it.
Sure.
Because they're lighter. It's obviously they're lighter. This is a light bow. But some people saying, how am I wording that?
Well, what you're losing in weight,
You're
it's not worth it in
it's
value.
not worth the cost that it takes, because these bows are carbon bows and magnesium bows. This bow's what,
Yeah.
$2,200 for this bow.
Now, what they say though is it's a more stable shot because magnesium and carbon don't flex like aluminum does.
Right.
So
And magnesium, I think one of the things they're talking on magnesium, it does not reverb like carbon does.
it doesn't. It's totally
It's
different.
got a different feel. Carbon resonates vibration better than,
I mean, it's what they make tuning forks out of.
yeah. So I mean, anyway, I'm beating it up right here. But anyhow, so the cost to weight ratio, I've heard more than just you and several people say that. So I don't know.
But it's possible that
But on that bow, it may finally
makes sense.
materialize where it's like, now I've got a bow that is looking at getting almost, would that be below 3? No, it wouldn't be below 3. Would it be 3 even?
It'd be real close. I mean,
Do
this
the
one's
math.
3.7. Take 4 inches off of it.
Of riser.
Yeah.
And it's naturally got smaller components because it's a smaller frame bow, 28 inches.
Yeah, but you might have to beef those up in order to get it to be a 70-pound bow. I don't know.
I feel
To
like
me, it seems like
somebody should give it a whirl, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's in the works. But that's the Bowtech Virtue. Is that right? Virtue?
Yep.
New
so
magnesium
the Bowtech
bow.
Virtue, we will be throwing a D loop on it for those who want to come in and shoot it.
Yeah, you're going to want to shoot it.
Yep. And it will be on sale tomorrow. It came into the shop today. The price on it is MSRP $21.99, I believe. So
he's a high price bow.
He
but
is.
You are getting, I will say he's light for a 32-inch bow.
Yeah,
it's light.
We'll shave some of that off to make sure that you feel like you're leaving with something.
And you're getting
with
a bow that you don't have the issues that carbon has.
It's an interesting design though on their logo. It looks like WR2. Do you see that? Maybe it's just me. I see Virtue as well, but that looks like W.
Or 2. It does.
Yeah.
I see them both.
Virtue was the god of war. He shot it. Oh man.
And that's where we get the
the art of war.
I was saying magnesium. That's what I was getting ready to say. Carbon struggles because you can't tap. You can drill carbon, but you can't tap it. Magnesium you can. So you get the light bow that doesn't have some of the issues that carbon has. And it doesn't resonate or reverb like carbon does.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it probably gets cold like aluminum does.
I don't think it does to the same level.
You know, that's never been a deal breaker to me. I'm not going to spend an
extra $600
another
for
$600 or $700 because I'm like,
my hands get cold.
That last 3 weeks of season, I can't keep my hands warm.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't keep them warm anyway.
You're an L7 weenie.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That's so, but that is something people talk about. So you don't know if magnesium gets cold.
I don't think it does. Magnesium is the thing that NASA uses to build most of their spacecrafts out of. I'm not just giving a
Are
line.
you sure?
Yeah.
Magnesium is crazy flammable, isn't it?
Maybe it is.
Yeah, those things that you.
But I think they use magnesium a lot in the spacecraft because
that's why they blow.
No, listen. Titanium and magnesium, because they're light materials, and they use light materials because they've got to, propel themselves.
Supposedly.
So, yeah. I'm not saying it's the reason the Challenger went down, but
somebody that's smarter than us, I'm pretty sure it's magnesium. Like if you flake off flakes of magnesium.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
magnesium lights up, dude.
When I worked in a big factory, they used magnesium like sand to sandblast with. It's a really good sandblasting material. It's like these little magnesium, like literally like sand size, maybe a little bigger than a grain of sand, just millions upon millions of balls of magnesium. And that when you went onto that sandblasting job, they trained you on how to put out magnesium fires. They had special equipment. They's like, if this sand ever catches on fire, because magnesium burns white hot. That's what I learned.
The challenge of reducing fuel load has been a long pressing issue in the aerospace industry. So they sought for light yet robust materials. Among available engineered metal
It's the same
alloys.
thing we're doing with light bows in the hunting industry.
That's right.
Trying not to use as much energy to get to the
Reduce the fuel load.
to try to get to the top of that mountain to shoot that bull elk, or to the back of that 80 to shoot that whitetail. I do remember there's times I went on all day still hunts. Like me and my Uncle Brad one time got up one morning, it was pouring rain right in the middle of the rut, and we were like, we just didn't have us in us to sit in a stand. So he said, let's just walk. We walked almost all day, still hunting through thickets and stuff. Had some amazing hunts. But in that, I remember at the end of that day, my shoulder from hanging onto my bow all day.
Yeah.
And I carried it by the handle with an arrow, basically cocked and locked and ready to rock. Because I'm like, when you're hunting in the rain, still hunting, the rut was going on.
Like this number.
Yeah, I just walked around with it. And I remember at the end of the day being like, my shoulder is just wore out. So maybe if you had a magnesium bow. But I know they don't wear you out too bad when they're just hanging on a hook all day.
One thing I do want to give credit to on Bowtech's end, anywhere where it's not, you can see everywhere that there's a bolt
hardware.
Yeah,
All
they
their
use
hardware's
stainless. Yeah, nice job.
Yeah, good job on that.
Yeah, because most everybody else carbon steel.
Yeah, and it rusts as soon as you go out in the rain.
Yeah.
There's a company, I think there's a company that makes all the hardware for all these bows where you can switch it over.
Yeah.
And then there's one company I've seen that makes titanium hardware. And they said, ultimately, if you take all the bolts and nuts off a bow that are stainless or just regular steel, and the titanium stuff, it's considerably lighter. So it shaves an ounce, or, I don't know what the number is, but it shaves some weight off the bow as well.
I think it would be cool.
And titanium don't rust.
For us to build our own Shock-E.
Shock-E.
we ought to just do it.
How do you build it?
I mean, you can take that as the frame, for the riser.
Put these limbs and cables
on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'd still be the same limbs and cables because you'd keep the cams.
But you're wanting to get it a heavy bow, draw weight wise.
Yeah.
So you'd have to change the limbs.
Yeah, just the limbs. Yeah. Sorry, the cams and I thought
the strings and cables would stay.
Strings and cables would stay the same. Yeah.
What's the max draw length on them?
29.
So you can get 29 inches out of that thing.
I'm telling you, it is nearly the RS.
Just it don't have the big limbs.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets 60 pounds. We haven't done any 60 pounders because most.
Well, I mean, most of our crowd struggles to pull 50.
Yeah.
So.
Who's your crowd? My crowd pulls more than that. No, I don't. Well, you got to, I mean, you know me, I'll build one tomorrow.
I think it would be cool because I think all these limbs are nearly the same size.
Well, we could take some measurements and have Bowtech send us some 70-pound limbs off whatever's the closest.
Yeah.
As soon as you change the limb, if they are longer, which I bet you them are longer, then your cables and string changes. But we could cross that road as we do it.
The Shock-E.
All you have to do is put it in the press, get it set where you want it, even if the strings and cables change, and just measure them.
The electric shock.
We could make a speed freak bow.
I like it.
We'll get started on that tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Unless you want to buy that one, we're not going to take that one apart.
No, because that color is not for us.
A rattle can, that bad boy.
I do think if they're going to build it, though, there's so many smooth lines. You know, they tried to make it appeal to the ladies. Like all
Curvy.
all their design is curved. Whereas this one here, it's got more hard edges. Someone in their design team, they understand what a woman wants.
And that'll wrap up the show for the evening. We're so glad that you joined us. No,
so glad.
I don't know if there's anything else to talk about.
Wrap it up, man.
The biggest thing, the most exciting thing for me is these arrows. I guess because I built one today and I feel like I got one to make weight.
Yeah.
For a buffalo hunt, and that's exciting. I was impressed with them. I'm sure these other things I would be as equally as impressed, but this is the one thing that I have messed with today. So
I want you to destroy that arrow.
For real?
I do, man. I want to see you put it through stuff that.
So you want to shoot? We should start out with wood.
Yeah.
2x4s and plywood and stuff like that.
Some white pine just to see how it does.
Move up to your harder woods.
some oak.
Some oak.
A little hickory.
Maybe some wall hickory or maybe some wall. You know, some good hickory handles would be a good representation
of a rib. Oh, yeah.
Well, more than a rib, probably.
Yeah.
Probably more like probably even more than a whitetail humerus, but be close to it.
I bet a hickory, though, is very similar to what the. You know,
I bet you a
buffalo,
a good hickory axe handle, that thinner top.
Yeah.
I bet you an axe handle is really close. And I've got an old axe handle at home. I broke the head off. I'll bring it in.
That'd be awesome.
I bet you that's close to a buffalo rib. I bet you it is.
I
would think it would be a little tougher, you know, than bone, but maybe not. You know, we're shooting it.
Let's build us a cage.
And and then if it holds up to that, we'll bounce it off a concrete block. Because I am curious as to this titanium insert, how, you know,
a guy needs to know what it'll do before you go.
What the side load, you know, a glancing blow, is it going to fold the titanium over?
Sure.
Because the carbon does not go all the way up through it. So that would be a curious thing that I have. Now, a straight on shot, well, I'm curious about that. We'll just see. You may never thread it off there again if you take on a full-blown dead stop concrete block. Oh, we're doing it. You got me excited now. I'll bring in some hickory. We're going to start with some pine, move on to some hickory handles. What after that? Should you put something else in between there? Maybe just bigger hickory. Go from a handle to like a sledge, you know, like a big split and maul handle, those ones that are really big and round. Here's the thing. If it'll shoot through a 2x4, I'm sure it won't break in a 2x4. I'm almost sure of that. I'm curious if it'll push through a 2x4. And I would like to shoot.
I think it'll push through a
shoot
2x4.
wood. I would really like to shoot wood with broadheads on.
Well, let's grab a broadhead.
Because people don't realize when you got a field point on, for one, your penetration is not going to be representation of a broadhead. And some people, I have seen that field points go deeper through wood sometimes than broadheads do. Because you're pushing the blades through too.
Yeah.
But also broadheads naturally are longer, so you get more opportunity for side load to split out and tear out the end of the shaft or something like that. So
I'm in to watch.
All right. We're going to make it happen. Maybe even tomorrow we'll start shooting wood. We'll update you, or we'll do it live, one of the two.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So
buffalo arrow. Can it make the cut? You're right. A guy should shoot some stuff before you just take it over there and assume.
Sure.
Even though it makes weight. Sorry.
Well,
even
over there, if you cut, you're cut. Like that tag is.
You cut one and don't find it, you're done.
Yeah.
And there really ain't even such thing as tags, is there? I don't think they have tags.
I don't know.
I don't think they have tags because they have no seasons. You can hunt whenever you show up.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure they don't have a season. It's just a matter of showing up and they say, I've got permission to kill so many animals off this concession, and you said you want one off here. We can kill one. Let's go get one. Of course, you got to pay the piper to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're right. You should know that this isn't going to implode if it implodes on a white pine 2x4, it's not going to make the cut. It's got to stay together on a 2x4.
Well, no.
I don't know if I'm going to ask it to stay together on a concrete block, but I'd love for it to. I know Trinity and several companies have got arrows that people bounce continuously off concrete blocks, and they don't split or bust the ends of them.
No kidding.
Yeah. Tough arrows. But they're stupid expensive, but they're tough. I mean, if you go watch, I'll drop a name. I watch him all the time. Lusk Archery does the broadhead test all the time.
Yeah.
He uses a Trinity arrow and on every what he calls zero penetration impacts, like concrete. And they just bounce off of it, and he picks them up, and the broadhead may be toast, but the arrow's fine. So
what are they doing that everybody else isn't?
I don't know. They also make crazy good broadheads, and I would like to even shoot a Trinity broadhead for a buffalo hunt, but I don't know if I can justify. Some of them are $150, $200 a piece for a broadhead.
Wow.
But they make them out of tool steel, and they also do the same thing with their broadheads. They're big single bevels. They just shoot them in a concrete wall, and you pick them up, and the broadhead's fine. Just time after time again.
Well, let's try that out tomorrow.
All right.
All right.
Hey, we love you. It's been good talking with you. I hadn't even looked at my phone. I've been so caught up. But we've got Wayne Johnson, Adam Boutwell, Paul the Cantrell. Who else? Jay Wallace.
Everybody's been quiet this evening.
PC Pro Inspections.
Have they
Jay
commented
Wallace,
on there?
Cody Thompson on Facebook. Jay said, 2 good guys there. Hey, what about guns? I'm thinking out on another level. He wants to talk about guns. Jay Wallace also said, I sure appreciate all your help with my son and my old bow. We went down a deep hole with that old bow, but
That's weird. I didn't get any of the chats tonight.
Really?
Nope. I'm going to have to reboot this thing.
Yeah, reboot. Well, anyway, it's been good. All these products are in here and more to come. So just because it's not bow season, come in and look at them. Let your, what do you call that? Your inner little thing start to turn and think about what are you going to do this bow season. That way you're not waiting till the last minute. And a new product may spur you, help you pick what you're going to do for next year.
Yeah.
Just laying eyes on it, that is. So
maybe Uncle Sam, the fairy Uncle Sam, can deposit something into your bank account and you can bring it up here to Ultra and we'll turn it into something you can use.
Yep. And check out these arrows because I think they are slick. After that, that's it. Right?
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it.